What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Austin Show. Today we're looking at the Star Wars Black Series comic book wave 2. So we have 4 more figures based off the comic books. So we have these awesome book designs. So we have a cover on it and then also supposed to be designed like a book, but they're based off the comic books. So first off, we have Black Krrsantan, which of course we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. But again, this is the comic base. So we have the picture here from Star Wars number 20, back from 2015, where he's fighting with Obi-Wan. Just looks pretty cool. Awesome box design stuff as usual. But we can open up and see Black Krrsantan there. Of course, just looks like a repainted version of Chewbacca with some additional stuff thrown on and a picture of it there from the comics. So it doesn't look exactly how we see from the show or from this picture over here. We have more of that version coming later, but just looks like a repainted version of the Wookiee, but that looks cool. And then we also have Sergeant Creel, which is a stormtrooper with a lightsaber. And then the cover here is from Star Wars number 60 from 2019, and he's fighting with Luke Skywalker there, both with lightsabers, so it looks pretty cool. Again, has that book design picture on the back there with the lightsaber, and if we open up, have the picture of him there, and then the figure. So it's just a stormtrooper with some extra like design onto him, and then comes with a green lightsaber blade. And then we also have Princess Leia and Darth Vader. So for Princess Leia, and this is from Star Wars Princess Leia number 5 from 2015, so it's just an alternate version of Princess Leia. You would see there with the group on the back, and open up, so there she is there, and then there. So it's just Princess Leia we've had before, repainted with a cape on the back, so she looks pretty cool there. I like this design a lot. And then finally we have the Infinities Darth Vader from the Infinities Return of the Jedi stories, which is like an alternate timeline. So in this one, Darth Vader ends up turning good, so we're gonna have him in all white. So if we open it up, we can see Darth Vader in white. So now he's redeemed and back to being a Jedi, so that is pretty cool, and back to being Anakin. So pretty cool having Darth Vader all in white. Just looks really cool. So these all look really cool. They're nice looking figures, of course, just like repaints, redesigns from what we've already had, so it's nothing really new, except I guess Black Krrsantan's, relatively new. It still just looks like a Wookiee, but nothing really new going on here, just new features and designs on some of these characters, but all of them look really cool, and I'm excited to check them out. So let me get them open out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Black Krrsantan, which is a male Wookiee bounty hunter that escaped his homeworld of Kashyyyk, seeking out the Xanti brother crime bosses to learn how to be a pit fighter, where his skeletal structure became altered with permanent knuckle dusters, and he became a champion pit fighter. Later on, he'd become a bounty hunter for Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine, where he came across Ben Kenobi, who fought him with a lightsaber and ended up scarring up his face, so we have the scar there, and was the picture from the box. But Black Krrsantan, just like many other Wookiees, has a high tolerance for pain. He's strong, has a sharp bite, and has electrified knuckle dusters, which unfortunately on this figure they did not include because they just took a Wookiee figure and repainted it black and then added his arm onto it, so they didn't add his knuckle dusters or anything. But hopefully with that new one from the Book of Boba Fett, we will be able to see that. But overall, I think he looks decent. Like I said, it's not the best. It's just a repainted Wookiee, so it's almost like they took Chewbacca or something, repainted him all black, added the hair details on the front here, which it's weird that they're in a brown color, but I assume he wouldn't be all exactly just black. But we can see his face, but with all the black it's hard to see. We can see his eyes up in there, of course that scar down his face, like right down his eye, and he has his mouth open doing like the Wookiee yell. Of course the all hairy body, so we have hair just hanging down, more like braids and stuff hanging down, with the gold armor, which again it's just a pretty bland armor. It's just this all solid like goldish yellow color. It needs like a wash or something that bring out more of the details of it, but it's got pockets come down, the like X design on his chest with the big shoulder armor with the nubs on it, so that's pretty cool. And then just Wookiee legs all the way down, so the hairy legs. So he looks pretty skinny size wise just overall, but I think it's not horrible, especially out of the box. It looks much better. But let's do his movements. So his head there can twist very little, so he's gonna have very little movements of his head, so just little shaking and very little rocking back and forth, so pretty pointless for that, but that's just mostly because of all the hair and stuff. But we get the arms that can come up close to 90 there and rotate around. We get the single elbow joint that can bend under 90 there, maybe 45 degrees with some rotation, and that limitation just because of all the hairs. And then we get the wrist that can twist around. Yeah, it can twist all the way around and rock back and forth. Under his armor, he does have the ab crunch, so he can crunch back and forth, so crunch forward, crunch back, and twist around there a little. And then he does also have another joint, like more at the waist or whatever, where he can twist a little, it seems like. But we get the hips that can come up close to 90, the hair's in the way again, so limiting out to there, over to the side a little, has a thigh twist that twists all the way around, a single knee joint that bends back closer to 90 and has some rotation, as well as the foot that can barely move, so just barely rocks back and forth and twists very little side to side. So this figure, like all the past Wookiees, are never the best because they have so many limitations because of their hair designs and stuff. So you get very little movements from all these Wookiees, which is usually quite a pain. But for accessories, he does come with his bowcaster. So just like Chewbacca, he has a bowcaster design, pretty similar design just overall. So this we can put into his hand. He does have a clip here on his back that you can probably find a way to clip this in. I usually kind of clip it around here or maybe back like this way. Just find a way to clip it onto his back to where it stays. But we're going to go and just put it into his hand. And for getting the bowcaster in his hand, that's about the best I can do. Like I can't even get like this finger to the trigger or anything. And then getting it in both hands was pretty difficult. And that's about the best you can get it. Can't really get it posed beyond there because of the limitation of his joints. But of course he can be like shooting to the side, but you can't get his head twisted. So again, that's probably about the best you can get him to do is just stand there just like that. But of course him being a Wookiee, the closest thing he is to Chewbacca. So we brought a Chewbacca figure in here. You can see actually Chewbacca is a little bit taller, which is kind of weird, or maybe his legs are spread out or something. But yeah, Chewbacca still looks taller. And overall, it's probably going to be the exact same body design. Like I said, just repainted all black and then has the braids added onto it. But either way, it's not a bad figure. Like I said, obviously not the best, but no Wookiees are good figures to me just because of all their limitations. So they need to find a way to get those joints to work out and stuff with all the hair. And hopefully that new black Krrsantan will work out better. But it's not a horrible figure. Like I said, a lot of people have kind of crapped all over this because of the design, but I don't think it looks horrible. Like I said, once it's out of the box, it looks much better and not absolutely horrible overall. And next up, we have Sergeant Creel, which began fighting in fight pits at a young age, so we have another fight pit thing, on his home planet. When the Empire took over the planet, he ended up joining the Stormtrooper Corps, where he eventually became a sergeant at the 501st Legion, so that's pretty cool. Where he was selected by Darth Vader for an undercover assignment to infiltrate Garrick the Hutt's palace, where he came into contact with Luke Skywalker, and later on he became the commander of a Scar Trooper Squad Task Force 99. So he looks pretty cool here. It's pretty much just a Stormtrooper with a little bit of extra stuff with it, but the coolest thing about him is that he comes with a lightsaber that we'll see, and he got that like saber at Garrick the Hutt's palace and stuff, so pretty cool. Just overall design, like I said, just Stormtrooper, but he has the pauldron on with the Empire logo on there, which is cool, and then he has this little like extra like pad thing on his arm. I assume it's some electronic thing like to command and do stuff, but I like that design, and he's got some extra stuff. This little pocket design up on his shoulder. His midsection is painted all black and looks a little bit different than usual. Some extra like holsters and pockets and stuff. Another one there on his thigh. So they added a little bit of stuff to him besides just making your standard Stormtrooper. They added some details to him. But let's do his movement. So his head can twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far. So very little movements, mostly because of this pauldron piece, so it gets in the way, but a little bit of movements in there. The shoulders can come up to 90 and have the butterfly joint, and can rotate all the way around and have the shoulder pad that gets out of the way for him. But we get the single elbow joint that can bend to 90 with some rotation, as well as the wrist that can twist all the way around and flex up and down for this hand. Then we get the ab crunch in the middle, so we have ab crunch there, so crunch back and forth, so crunch forward, crunch back is pretty decent, and can twist all the way around. Then the hips can come up, we may have to rotate them out a little bit there, can come up to 90 and go out to the side that far. We have the thigh twist up in there, a single knee joint that bends back to 90 with some rotation, as well as the foot that can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So his joints aren't bad, and he's on that same body we've been seeing more lately, so the newer Stormtrooper body, so not bad overall, and I think he looks pretty decent, but he is a Stormtrooper, so he's going to come with the E11 blaster rifle, so the standard rifle for that, so we can put this into his hands, or we can stick into the holster he's got here on the back, which it's going to be hard to slip in there, but I like how it's over like more to the back. But he also comes with a lightsaber as well, as I mentioned, so he comes with a green lightsaber, which is always cool, so nice lightsaber hilt design and stuff that we can put into his hands. So there's Creel with that lightsaber in his hand, and that just looks really cool. I love the look of a Stormtrooper with a lightsaber, and it being a green lightsaber, which is one of my favorite colors of lightsaber, so just overall it looks cool. I tried to put the gun in his other hand so he was like dual wielding, but the gun would not fit into his hand and it kept falling out, so I decided to have him just double hand the lightsaber, and like I said, I think that looks really cool. And of course with the Stormtrooper, I just got another Stormtrooper to show off, so this was like the newer one we got in the wave not too long ago that had the pauldron piece as well, so just wanted to show that off, just see the Stormtrooper. It's the same base body, like joints and stuff, but it's a little bit different. As you can see, like the chest piece like on Creel is much more flat, so overall just a little bit different, switched up with the new stuff added on Creel. Like I said, this Creel design is really cool because it's a Stormtrooper with a little bit more details and features on him, and comes with a lightsaber, so you can't really ask for a much cooler Stormtrooper in my opinion. And next up we have Princess Leia Organa, and this design was based off her between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and it shows how Leia deals with the destruction of Alderaan as she tries to find survivors of the attack that were scattered across the galaxy. So she's just out on a mission trying to find any surviving Alderaans. And overall this figure looks decent. It's a pretty nice Princess Leia. It's probably like one of my favorite Princess Leia designs, and I feel she's pretty much just like the Bespin Leia, so where she's pretty much just in the all white outfit. But of course we couldn't find any of our Leia figures that would match that for some reason, whether it be the Hoth one or the Bespin one. We couldn't find any of our figures to show a comparison or anything, but I assume body wise with the all white suit, that's pretty much what she's in, with the brown details. So she's got the brown gloves and this brown cloak on, which is much like the Padme figure that we've had. It had an outfit like this, just a different color of brown, but the same sort of cloak design. Then we got her face, which looks like a little bit too much is like red into it. It's like shiny and red, which shininess is usual for them, but it's got some red into it that I don't like, so her face doesn't look perfect. But I love her hair design, very nice details for the hair and stuff. Looks just like Princess Leia would have, so that's nice. Has a nice belt on around her waist with some pockets and the holster there on the side, so it goes with a little thigh holster, and some dark brown or black boots there on her feet. I just like this design overall. I just wish the face was a little bit better for this, and I wish we had figures to compare it to. But we can do the movements, so her head can twist all the way around. She can look down that far and up that far, so not the best movements. Shoulders can come up to 90 and rotate around. We get the single elbow joint that bends to 90 with the rotation, and the wrist that can twist around and flex up and down. She has the ab crunch right at her waist, so crunch back and forth and twist around. And then we get the hips. We'll go to this hip over here. It can come up to 90 out to the side. Has the thigh twist that's a little bit stiff but can twist all the way around. The double knee joint that can bend up to the back, pretty much almost kicking her back, which is pretty good. A shin twist at the top of the boot, and then the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So not bad movement. She has some limitations in parts, but still overall not a bad figure for her at all. For accessories, we get some guns. So first off, we have the Defender Sporting Blaster Pistol. So we see her have this in like A New Hope and stuff. So her little blaster that we can put into her hands, or it fits in her holster as well, so we can just slide it down in there, but we'll put this gun in her hand. So there's that gun in her hand, and she also comes with an E11 blaster, so just like Sergeant Creel, just this one has like more attachments and stuff onto it, which I think is pretty cool, that we could put into her hand as well, or her other hand, but I don't want to give this to her because I think she looks good just like that. So pretty good figure overall for Princess Leia. I like the design with the white outfit and the tan color being thrown in there. I think overall fits pretty well for her, and it's a pretty nice figure just overall. And finally, we have the Infinities Darth Vader, which, as I mentioned, is like an alternate timeline story of the Star Wars trilogy. And for this, it was during the final battle of Return of the Jedi, where Luke reveals that he and Leia are both Darth Vader's kids, and Darth Vader ends up falling to his knees and begs for forgiveness to become Anakin Skywalker once again, and they defeat the Emperor and stuff just like in the movie. But they are able to escape the Death Star together, and back on the home one, Anakin comes out wearing this all-white version of his light support suit. So he's still Darth Vader, but he's back to being Anakin Skywalker and wears this all white version, so he's back to being a Jedi, and I think this looks cool. This is definitely like the best figure of this wave. I absolutely love it, with it being the all white. It is all white. It has some like, looks like in the camera, some like pinkish or purpleness to it and stuff, which isn't true, but I think he looks awesome. So he's just all Darth Vader as we've seen before. Everything's pretty much exactly the same, just repainted. So he's got the all white helmet with the silver eyes, which I think looks really cool, with some silver details on the mask there. He's got the white chest plate, the all white like body glove design, and gloves and boots and belts and like codpiece, and has the white material as well. So in the centerpiece down here coming down with like the skirting, as well as the white cape on the back. So everything about him is just all white, and I love it. And then seeing all the designs like on his belt and stuff, has all the buttons and everything still glowing in their colors that they were, with some greens, reds, and blues. So everything about it just looks really cool, and I love this design of just seeing him in the all white here. It just looks really cool. So we can do his movements, and it'll be the same as the past Darth Vader. So the head can twist side to side, maybe twist all the way around, but it's kind of difficult, especially with the cape piece, and look down that far and up that far. So just very little rocking back and forth. But then we get the shoulders that can come up about that far, like a little over 45. So it has a shoulder piece here that doesn't really get out of the way, so you can't really go much higher than that, but it feels like it has a little bit of a butterfly joint in there. But then we get the single elbow joint that bends to 90, a little bit over actually, and has some rotation with the wrist that can twist around and flex back and forth for this hand. We have an ab crunch in the middle, so crunch back and forth and twist around. Of course, I have to be careful with the material and stuff, but can twist around in there. Then we get the hips that can come up to 90 out to the side there. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that bends up to the back that far, which isn't too bad. And then we get the foot that flexes back and forth and twists side to side. So overall, he's got pretty good movements. You know, has some limitations just from his body design and have to be careful with the material. But overall, he's pretty good. Doesn't really have any major issues. He's not the easiest to stand up, which dealing with other figures that I'll show in a second. That's kind of just like what the Darth Vader figure is. He has some issues getting to stand. Overall, a pretty awesome figure, and this is definitely, like, I would say a must-have from this set. But with this Darth Vader, we also get his lightsaber, but he has the same lightsaber, so the same hilt and the red blade. So I don't know if he ever gets it switched in the comics and they just threw this in here, or if he still had this, because, you know, it is still his lightsaber. It shouldn't really matter the color, but it still looks cool. So that red against the white will look awesome. So let's just put this in his hand. So there's Darth Vader with that lightsaber, and yeah, that red against the white just looks really cool. So that just looks pretty awesome. And of course, we can bring in older versions. So we have this version of Darth Vader, which is sort of an older one. So he has the material, but it's on the outside. But again, I don't know what these are from. But we have just the original classic version of Darth Vader, and then we have the carbonized one as well. So where he's all blue. So now we have 3 different colors of Darth Vader, and all of them look cool. I love this blue carbonized one. I think it looks awesome. The white one looks awesome. And of course, you always have to have just a normal Darth Vader. So all of these look really cool. So it's all the same character, pretty much exact same body, just a little bit different designs, like I said, where this one has the material on the outside. But all of them look really cool, and I can't really complain too much. They all look awesome, but I definitely love this new white one. Well, that's going to be it for our Star Wars Black Series comic book wave 2, where we had a lot of cool figures in this wave, where we got Black Krrsantan, Princess Leia, Darth Vader from Infinities in the all white, and Sergeant Creel. All of these figures are really cool, and I pretty much recommend all of them, because I can't see anything really wrong. Maybe the Black Krrsantan if you want to wait for that Book of Boba Fett one, because like I said, this can definitely be improved. So if you maybe have some iffiness about the Krrsantan, wait on that. But all the other 3 are really cool. So if you like these looks, I highly recommend it, because they're pretty good figures. But let me know what you thought of them down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.